from PRX.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcast that, you know, some people write trip reports from vacations. Some people take pictures from their vacations. Well, tonight you'll get a bedtime story from like with the details from a vacation that'll put you to sleep and put you at ease. And you say, I don't understand what well, don't worry. Get settled in because it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Hey, before we move on here, I just want to let you know, as I've been saying all year long, you matter. Your sleep matters. I'm here to help if I can, to keep you company and to take your mind off of stuff. And that means that you're important. It means that there's resources in the show notes if you need more support than just somebody to talk you off to dreamland. There's resources in the show notes you can connect with right now. And it also means supporting the lives and the mental health of members of our community. Right now, that means that Black Lives Matter and Black mental health matters, and working towards that's important. So there's links to organizations you could connect with if you've been impacted or you want to be a part of positive change. Those are all in the show notes, as well as the sponsors you're going to hear coming up, or you can find everything on our website at sleepwithmepodcast.com. Thanks. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots, and I know the majority of our listeners are happy to listen to a free ad-supported version of the show, and they know our sponsors help keep the show free and not behind a paywall. But I have heard from people that say, hey, I want an ad-free option. And I still feel like Patreon is the best option. It's the best value. You can listen in most every podcast app to the bonus content. $5 and up patrons get story-only episodes and ad-free episodes every week. If you become an annual patron, you save, you get a month free. $10 and up patrons get all intro episodes, all night episodes, and $20 patrons are now getting special access to Ray episodes. So at all our levels, it really offers an amazing value. But people said, yeah, what other ways to get the ad-free content? I know a lot of work goes into the show. So great news. I'm going to put the shows up on Bandcamp for sale. I don't feel like that's a great value, but some people have asked me about it. And then if you join our referral program starting in April, or if you've been a part of the referral program and you really join the referral program wholeheartedly and participate in it, there will be a chance to earn access to an ad-free feed of the show and beyond. And there are people that are really doing amazing with that referral program. You can do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. But again, being a patron is the best way to be a rebel with the cause. You see, well, I love paying for a free podcast, so it's free for everybody. And I know it's not free for Scoots. I know a lot of work goes in the show. That's a rebel with a cause. If you become an annual rebel with a cause, you save, you get a month free. That's at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. So you could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. I know a lot of you just enjoy hearing about the sponsors and supporting the show that way. Those of you that are looking for a way to do it for free, just by putting out some effort, you could find out more at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. So sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron or sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, BetterHelp. You know, if you're having trouble meeting your goals right now, difficulty relationships, trouble sleeping, or if you're feeling stressed or depressed, BetterHelp is available. BetterHelp offers online professional counselors who can listen and help. And I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, is that I've had a lot of struggles throughout my lifetime with mental health and with self-medication and stuff. And working with professional licensed therapists has given me the tools to function and flourish in my life. And that's one of the things I'm so grateful for, is the relationship I have with my therapist, someone I can talk to who can listen and help me. And with BetterHelp, you simply fill out a questionnaire to assess your needs, and BetterHelp will match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. And this isn't self-help or a crisis line. This is secure online professional counseling. BetterHelp counselors have a broad range of expertise which may not be available in your area. Their service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send unlimited messages to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, and everything you share is confidential. You don't have to worry about going to the office or sitting in a waiting room. And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so it's easy and free to change counselors if needed, so you can find someone you're comfortable talking to and working with. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Sleep With Me listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. So visit BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme, and you can join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced BetterHelp professional. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, it's Scoots. Have you taken the Helix Sleep quiz yet? It's at helixsleep.com/sleep. It's a 2-minute sleep quiz where Helix Sleep will match you with a customized mattress that's going to give you the best sleep of your life. And I'm so happy that we were able to give away a brand new mattress to Abby and a weighted blanket to Guadalupe. People out there that spent 2020 and 2021 working on behalf of other people. I'm so happy to have a partnership with a company that encourages good sleep and then backs it up with people supporting the sleep of others. But here's what make it simple. I absolutely love my Helix bed. My siblings, there's so many people in my family that my daughter just took the Helix sleep quiz. I don't know if I shared this. She's got her Helix on the way to her mom's house, so she can be sleeping in a Helix. So have your kids take the quiz too. Compare your results, or take the Helix sleep quiz with your partner, and it'll match you to a mattress that's a perfect compromise for both your sleep preferences. And I don't know if you knew this, in addition to being part of our great giveaway, Helix offers exclusive discounts for teachers, students, military, and first responders. They make amazing bedding, and they support the podcast that puts you to sleep. So I don't know what you're waiting for. It's helixsleep.com/sleep. Take that 2-minute sleep quiz. There's so many mattress models to choose from, whether you want something soft, medium, firm, something that's going to cool you down if you sleep hot. They have the Helix plus size mattress for plus size folks. I'm sleeping on the Helix Dusk. I absolutely love it. I sleep hot. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. It's perfectly matched to the way I sleep to give me a good night's sleep. Their beds have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. And they'll even pick it up if you don't love it, but I know you will. The mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free, so you don't ever have to go to a mattress store or schedule delivery through some company or try. You say, what do you mean? I got to pay extra for delivery? Are you kidding me? Not with Helix Sleep. You get a mattress customized to you, to your door, and if you buy it right now, you get an unbelievable deal. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/sleep. That's Helix, HELIX sleep.com/sleep. That's up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Share with me your unboxing videos. Share with me your setup videos. I love it. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, and we were trying to keep Celestial Seasonings as a sponsor. I don't know how. I know that a lot of people supported Celestial. I don't even know how it turned out as I'm recording this, but I want to thank those listeners who recently got a hold of Celestial: Mimi, Nachama, Cindy, Jackpot, Fawn, Sarah, Jody, Arthur, Patty, Maureen, Talmadge, and Megan. All took the time to support Celestial Seasonings and let them know about it. And it would be wonderful if they heard from enough people that they decided to stay with the show. It's a perfect partnership. So thank you, everybody. If you support a sponsor, let them know about it. Let me know about it. Or you can let me know about it on our sponsor page, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. And I'll try to add you here to the Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need. There's links to resources in the show notes. It's about supporting the members of our community, saying Black Lives Matter with our actions. So please take a minute and reflect conduct on that, and there's organizations you could connect with in our show notes. And the last part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is something I support, and I support the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum. You can go to napawf.org to find out more. You could take action to support them directly. You could take action through signing a petition. There's other resources. You can learn more. And as a parent of an AAPI young woman, it is really important to me. But it's also important for me as a member of my local community, this community around this podcast, and the other communities I'm a part of. So please take action. That's napawf.org. There'll be a link in the show notes. And, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Posty poster son sounds like a near fall. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Eric and the team at Astoundr on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. We're raising money for the Water Wheel
Thanks,
Foundation.
Mr. Bard. Let me slow it down. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you can find me. What do you say we get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. So whether it's thoughts you're thinking about, things on your mind, feelings related to those thoughts or emotions, or just, ones that are there, or you just know, at bedtime I say, "Whoa, I didn't notice you," for a pretty good reason, because I'm trying to go to sleep. And, Shamebot, what are you, Shamebot 10,000? Okay, well, so those feelings that could bring up, feelings, physical sensations, time, temperature, changes in routine, daylight if you're working the second or third shift. I don't know what they call the shift of that morning news cruise. I mean, I always I don't know if I've heard from him. I think I've heard from some morning news crews, but, because that's a tough schedule, you got to get, but I don't know, that's not the second or the third shift, I don't believe. Maybe it is. Let's see, typically, you got 9 to 5, then 5 plus 8, 5 plus 5 is 10, 6, 5 to 1, and again, I know I'm wrong, I'm just saying in my mind, and then I guess 1 to 9. None of those are the morning news crew, because they think they usually go on the air around 5, right? And they probably got to get there at 4, maybe. And in the Bay Area, then, well, I guess the commute is not so bad at 3:30 or 4 in the morning. Oh, but whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's your schedule, that's what I was saying, or anything else, whatever it is, I'm here to take your mind off of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to try to establish a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, oh, wait, I said that part, repetition. But I am going to try to create a safe place with my voice, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. You've witnessed all of those already, going off topic. So if you're new, a couple things to get, because I already went off topic earlier. Let me get to you, new listeners. Oh, boy. Am I glad you're here, and I hope I can help. Now, one thing you should know, a couple things, I guess. One, if you're skeptical or doubtful, that's how everybody, 99.9% of the people who come to the podcast, Because, of course, you probably heard a lot of different things about helping you sleep. You've probably tried some stuff, and you really want something to work. So that's a natural reaction. Also, you might be like, what are you up to? When is this show going to get started? So I'm going to try to answer those questions. But I want to acknowledge that, of course, you may be skeptical or scoutful. Which are accidental words. Skeptical, doubtful. What did I say? Skeptical, or scoutful. You'd say, I don't know. Scoutful sounds like it could be. I could go on a lot of tangents about that. Skeptical. I think that's probably like what I would call a garbage can in space. You say, oh, put it in the deptical. What is it? What's the difference between? Well, it's a receptacle in space. It depths whatever you put in there. What does that mean? I don't know, like ionizes it or something. I don't know. I just put it in there. I didn't design it. I just bought it at the space version of this, one of those stores. Were you going to say a space version of Sharper Image and then you didn't say Sharper Image? Yeah, I did, because I think that has a different, like, it used to be a cut. I think it's just an airplane store now. Okay, you better get on topic quick. You're right. I don't want to incur the, like it used to be once upon a time before the internet, people bought stuff out of glossy catalogs. And the Sharper Image had glossy catalogs. I think in the 90s, probably, maybe even the 80s, that kind of portrayed a life of luxury. That you would have, you say, well, what kind of image do you project? A Sharper Image. Holy cow. Clean lines. Like an aesthetic. Oh, I thought you were talking, oh, you're right. I got to get back to the new listeners. I was talking about depticals and scoutfuls. So if you're skeptical or doubtful, you have a good reason, right? I can't even put my word. I put the words together. I'm assembling the words as I'm speaking them. And just kind of say, oh, whoops, that D, that was supposed to go with the other word. But seriously, if you are, one, I'm just here to help. But this podcast does not work for everybody. So see how it goes. I don't make a promise, that it works for everybody. I only hope it works for you. But I can tell you that almost every person that's listened to the show, it took 2 or 3 tries for them to be like, before they made a decision on it. And for most of the people I hear from that are regular listeners, they said, oh, yeah, after the 3rd try, I realized I didn't have to figure this out or, like, wonder where you were going. Kind of like when I go see a movie sometimes, and it's a big movie, and I have big expectations for it. I have to usually watch it twice. Because the first time I'm saying, where's this going, right? So that's natural with this podcast, too. But this one's going nowhere, so I'll just tell you that. But sometimes it takes a few tries anyway. It's slowly going. We're going somewhere, but it's not just about the journey. But so if you're new, those are a couple other things. A couple other things different about the show. One, structurally, the show's different. And you're already into the structure, but it starts off with business and a high energy, sleepy supporter zone. That's how we keep the podcast free and coming out twice a week. Then there's an intro. So the business can throw people off. Then the intro can throw people off. Sometimes I get emails about the intro, like the intro is also a commercial or something, but it's more, I guess it is a commercial for my inability to get to the point and to go off topic, but more a demonstration of that. So the intros of the show are around 12 to 20 minutes long, which you say, wait a second. So 25% of the podcast is you introducing the podcast. You're exactly right. Sometimes 33%. And why is it? Well, a couple of reasons. One, I want to give you a chance to wind down and get to sleep. I mean, just from my perspective. So one, you could just listen to the stories, just start the podcast at 20 minutes or be a patron and to listen to the story only versions we put out there. But in my opinion, if I was consuming the podcast, and this is a lot of listeners agree, if you started with like, hey, welcome to Sleep With Me, let's get that story going in a minute, and, welcome. If it was 2 or 3 minutes and then I went to the story, part of my brain would be like, oh boy, I got to get going. I got to get to sleep now. The story started. So the intro is, it gives new listeners an idea what to expect. It also gives regular listeners a chance to get ready for bed. I guess it's the majority use case. You start playing it as you're getting ready for bed, and then you get in bed like halfway through the intro. This is imaginary though, and then you listen to the rest of the intro as you're getting comfortable and winding down. And then the story starts when you're snuggled in, and then maybe you have a sleep timer. Some people listen all night. You could kind of see what works best for you. And you might say, Scoots, I start listening to the intro once I'm in bed. Or I listen to the whole intro as I'm brushing my teeth, petting those pets. Don't forget to give your pets an extra pet tonight. Because Sleep With Me, always sponsored by Petting Pets. Am I right? They recently started putting out this. I feel like a stand-up comedian changing the subject like this. Well, they recently started putting out podcasts for pets to listen to. And I said, hello, the most popular, you should have called me because I don't want to pat myself on the back, but what podcast one reminds their owners to pet their pets 3 times tonight. But our podcast is pretty popular because a lot of pets listen with their companions, and they jump in bed or they get in their bed. But also in places where pets are when they're not at home, a lot of people play the podcast in those places that work there. I get videos and stuff, and that's really heartwarming to me. But it was, I don't know where that was a tangent. So the intro, I go off topic, but it's to give you time to wind down. And the thing is, there's no pressure to listen to this podcast, and there's no pressure to fall asleep. The combination of the intro and the fact that after this, it'll be a random episode. I don't even know what I'm going to be talking about right this second. But I know I'll be here for at least an hour, and I know the episode will be fully complete. So it's not like halfway through the thing I start talking. I mean, I talk nonsense from the beginning to the end. I don't check out. I'm here to the end because, one, I think that's what really helps. I don't know why, but knowing that you're listening to a complete story that you don't have to listen to. For some people, that puts people at ease, but also knowing, hey, if you can't fall asleep, I'm going to be here with a relatively inane but somewhat decent story. And then for all my people that don't sleep, there's people that listen that just can't sleep, and I'm here for them too. I've heard from them over the past 7 years of making this show, and I'm here for you if you're just up at night, and I'm here to keep you company, too. So there'll be a story. That'll be about 45 minutes. Then there's some thank yous at the end of the show. And there's also business between the intro and the story. So that's the structure of the show. I'm trying to think of what else you need to know. So that's the structure of the show. You don't need to listen, no pressure to fall asleep. I make the show because I believe you truly do deserve a good night's sleep. I've been there, tossing and turning. I've been there tossing and turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep. Thoughts, got those, holy cow, especially at bedtime. Feelings, have those. Those come up. Physical sensations, yep, I've had different, Well, I've experienced a lot. I haven't experienced everything, but I'll tell you what, I know how it feels there. When you really want to be asleep, you're really tired. And, I'm here to keep you company through that, to take your mind off of it. Even though I'm reminding you now, I get it. It's a little bit of a paradox, but it's true, right? It SUCKS's, and that's why I make the show. As I said, not only do I believe you deserve a good night's sleep, I do believe the world will be a much better place if you're rested in it. I know your world will be. And then everything, branching out from your world, and even if it's just a tiny bit better, that's better. Am I right? So that's why I make the show. I'm here to keep you company. So if you're deptical or scoutful, I mean, what would scoutful be? I mean, one, I can see the jokes. You'd say, I'm trying to think of how I put the jokes in a sleep podcast. So, like it'd say, so let's use a very removed one. So you know that Zeus, right, is Kronos. Here's my history. I'm not sure if this is Greek or Roman. Or maybe maybe it was one of the Titans. Let's just say it was Kronos, was like this god way back before Zeus, so far back. And I think Kronos said to all the Titans, maybe, or Zeus and Zeus's family, siblings, hey, why don't you get in my belly here? And it'll be a good place for everybody. Also, then I won't have to worry about the whole thing with you, usurping my rule. Now, what they didn't tell you is that this all happened. Zeus was in the scouts. You'd say, what do you call What do you call Kronos after Zeus's scout meeting when Kronos, it did Kronos's thing? If you're like a scholar, I apologize though, but you say scoutful. Kronos was scoutful. There's a joke. There's a punchline without a joke. You're on a regular basis. I try to give those out. Yeah, but you also say, well, I'm not sure about that. So I'm scoutful. I don't know. I like the idea. I think like a character's named Scout. Well, I'm not so sure. I'm not sold on that character named Scout. I'm scoutful. Or I know there's vehicles named Scout. You say, well, maybe you should say that. Like I don't know, do they sell any vehicles named Scout anymore? I mean, I'm sure people name their vehicles Scouts. But you'd say, well, here's the thing. I'm not even kidding as I'm talking about this. I'm scoutful about the word scout because I say, well, I don't know about that word really. So let's move on to deptical, which again would be, I think, I'm trying to think of other words. It gets to like, what's the place you throw out your hair gel, like deptical. That's what I call my hair gel garbage can. I think I checked because maybe like 200 episodes ago I started talking about Dep, which was a maker of neon hair gels. Which had its high points in the 90s, I think. Even though it wasn't neon when it hit your head, it was just neon in the bottle. And any kids listening, again, I'm not joking. Don't follow my lead. I've already done this stuff. It is a bad idea. But those neon colors of hair gel, they don't correspond to anything with your taste buds. So no need to check that. Plus, it wouldn't be good for you. So I'm not kidding. Not that I did it, but I emailed the companies. And I said, hey, I have a question about the lime Dep. And they said, the neon, the Funkafusion. And I say, what is it? What do you use for your lime flavoring? Dear consumer, don't consume our hair gel is for external use only. And then I emailed back, did you say it's really called Funkafusion? And they said, thanks for your interest in the Funkafusion Fun Club. And I got a coupon. And then I did that for the other ones. I said, could you tell me more? I'm confused by because there's probably a yellow. Then there's probably a pink. Maybe a blue. I said, is that a razzmatazz or a blueberry? And they said, I don't know what they would call it. I mean, it would have like ice fusion. I don't know what they would call it, blue hair gel. Because sometimes you get mixed up with Gatorade flavors. Also, they're probably owned by the same company. don't know whether to laugh or... See, actually, we make that the same place. That could be a podcast. That would just be like a segment in a podcast, a bigger story in a podcast. A character that worked at... They say, yeah, I worked at the Gatorade Dep plant. And maybe someone that was really interested would say, wait a second, I'm sorry, what? Well, yeah, I worked at the plant at the plant I worked at, we made Gatorade and Dep hair gel. Fictional versions. I'm just, of course. And they said, really? What, was that two different? Oh, no, same place. No, I mean, it was separated. I mean, somewhat. Same basic, they're made of the same, they probably are made of the same basic things. Anyway, I don't know how I got here. Oh, my Deptical. That's where I throw out all my hair gel. In space, that's where I throw out my Funkifusion. See, like, it never made my hair Funkifusion. Not that was really a name of a hair gel. That was a temporary Gatorade flavor, probably positive. Like, it would be like melon. What would you do? What would you put in a sport drink that was labeled? I mean, Funkifusion, you definitely want it to have a pop in color. Funkifusion, I don't know. I mean, I think you'd want it to have like a 3-layer flavor so that there's some sort of melon, like a surprise melony flavor at the end, like a hit up front. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't work. I just work in imaginary flavor labs and not real ones. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. I mean, I guess you got a full dose of the podcast here of what to expect. I really appreciate you checking the podcast out. Like I said, give it a few tries because it doesn't work for everybody. If you feel like it definitely doesn't work for you, you could send your emails to the one of those corporate offices I mentioned, or check out sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And I don't know, I think that's it. I'm glad you're here. I really work hard. I hope and I strive, and I really want to help you fall asleep. So thanks again. And here's a couple of ways we're able to keep this podcast free for everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about that game that I'm playing, me and my best fiends. Now, we've talked about best fiends when I go to Best Fiends Con or whatever that's going to be, and I'm going to do some cosplay. I want to hear what characters you love. It's Quincy for me, but which character do you love playing? Oh, wait, you haven't played Best Fiends before? Well, get over there and download it, because it's a game for when you have downtime or you need to blow off a little steam. You need something that's fun, that's relaxing, but that's also a challenging puzzle you really get into. Those are the things I love about Best Fiends, and the characters, the pop and colors, the catchy music. Best Fiends gives you hours of fun, casual gameplay that never gets old with thousands of levels. Plus, they're constantly adding new content and events all the time. So when I need to unwind, I can always count on Best Fiends. And it really is thrilling. You open up the app for the spring, they've got a bunch of fun things going. You say, oh, wow, I want to try that out. With Best Fiends, there's something new today and tomorrow and every day after that. They're boredom's worst nightmare. So if you never get tired of solving puzzles, fun puzzles with great music, with Best Fiends, the fun never ends. Just don't blame me if you become kind of obsessed. So download Best Fiends free today on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about HelloFresh. It's been one of my dinner companions all through 2020, 2021. And all you need to do is go to HelloFresh.com/sleep12 and use the code SLEEP12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping. HelloFresh makes dinner easy. You get fresh, pre-measured ingredients, mouth-watering seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. No trips to the grocery store. And with HelloFresh, cooking is easy, fun, and affordable. That's why they're America's #1 meal kit. I never feel rushed. HelloFresh saves me so much time and so much stress. I don't have to think about grocery lists. I don't have to think about if I have enough ingredients or even meal planning. HelloFresh cuts all that out so you can enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. They even have lightning prep recipes that are ready to go in 20 minutes or less. Quick breakfasts and lunches. Everything perfect so you can get your time back, your time with your family and your downtime for you. HelloFresh is also flexible. There's so much variety and every meal is delicious. They have over 25 meals to choose from every single week. And just this week, we had this Yucatan citrus chicken bowls, and we're eating gluten-free now. It had poblano peppers, smoky red pepper crema, pickled onion, absolutely amazing. And you can taste the quality with HelloFresh. Their fresh ingredients are sourced directly from growers, delivered from the farm to your front door in under a week. And that's contact-free. You just take it out of the box and you put it in your fridge, you put it in your freezer, and you're ready to go. My favorite part about HelloFresh, I'm not sure if it's the saving the time, saving the stress. I think it's just that my daughter enjoys every meal. She can be part of the meal planning without having to go to the store or make a grocery list to say, hey, what do you think about these meals next week? But of course, it gets better than that because HelloFresh has got another amazing deal for everyone. If you go to HelloFresh.com/sleep12 and use that code SLEEP12, you'll get 12 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/sleep12 and use the promo code SLEEP12 for 12 free meals plus free shipping. And get that order in with HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots coming to you from the end of 2020. And I just wanted to tell you before Scoots from early 2020 took over that this episode was recorded in January of 2020. And I sat on it the whole year just because it wasn't comfortable putting it out because it involves travel. And I don't want to give anybody a sense of forlorn FOMO, or encourage any of that. But it is our most popular and comforting guest host, Ray Perkins. So I thought it'd be fun to put it out. And we usually try to, like most years, we put out about 3 Ray episodes a year. This year was a little different just because the year was different. And I really appreciate all you being here the whole year for me and Ray and all the other people involved in the podcast. I could not do it without all of you. I really appreciate it. And also, those of you that are Ray super fans, I should have a way in 2021. At some point, I'm going to redo some of the, I'm going to create like a higher level Patreon level for Ray super fans. Because it just won't work in the main feed of putting out like 12 Ray episodes a year, but we could work a budget to get to that. And I'll also probably have, once we get that going, if it's successful, I'll also add it. We're going to have a referral program, so that'll be a free way to support the show coming up down the road to get access to that stuff, too. So, yeah, that's it right now. And so I just want to let you know that this was recorded in January 2020 from a trip in, what year is it? So this was 2020. So it's 2019 to 2020 when this trip I went on with Ray that Ray's talking about. And it was a pleasant, re-listening to this episode. So I hope it's as pleasant for you. A nice, dreamy trip with Ray tonight. Thanks. Hello, everybody. This is your friend Ray. Thank you, Scooter, for that introduction. I didn't get to hear it. But oh boy, was it nice. And just to reframe things, I'm your friend Ray, a friend of yours, a friend of mine. Good to meet you. Good to be in your ears once again. Now, I'm here talking about a trip I took with Scooter a little bit of time ago. It was a little while since I've been in your ears. It's been too long, but it's been just the right amount of time as well. And Scooter has promised me that in the show notes, there'll be a link or a number of whatever episode covered our first trip. But I'll just go over the basics with you. I'm Scooter's neighbor, Ray. And if you want to know more about Scooter and I's history, little Andy, the pod boy, my friend, you could listen to other episodes I've been on. I'm going to get more to the business of a trip we made to Florida over the holiday season, at some point, because I know these podcasts don't come out. It's a miracle of podcasting. I mean, I'm not even recording this not that far from our trip. And this is a trip we made to Orlando. And again, I say this in every episode. I realize that theme parks and amusement parks are for everybody. Ray's not everybody's cup of tea. Scooter's not everybody's cup of tea. But I know, Scooter's my cup of tea. Holy moly, is he a good friend to me? And I feel like I'm a good friend to him. But I know that the consumption or the price, that this just not everybody's pastimes. It just happens to be my pastime. I like talking about it. Like Scooter's pastime is less going to the amusement parks than drinking soda and observing me, I believe. And so I'll catch up now. This is you're joining me right in the beginning of the second half of the first day of my vacation with Scooter. So we had flown in. And then we spent a little bit of time at one of the parks, one of the Disney parks there. And then we went back to our rooms. We took a nap. Even Ray took a nap. Sometimes I like to spend time with friends or chatting or more. But we were at the room. We were sleeping. And I don't know if we went through this. I don't think we did. Around 2:30 p.m. So we had flown all night. And we kind of just slept on the plane. Then we went to the Magic Kingdom in the morning without napping or anything. Then we went back to our hotel around lunchtime and went to sleep about 11:15, 11:30 p.m., a.m. Now, that's East Coast time. For us, it was, 3 hours before that. And we took a nap. Now, at 2:30, Scooter got up first. Now, Scooter went to the food court. We were staying at the Port Orleans Hotel, French Quarter, Scooter's telling me. And this is when Scooter got his unlimited soda cup, which is unlimited refill cup of soda. And I try not to talk about this too much because I know some people say, well, you talk too much about Scooter and soda. And I say, well, that's only so I can set up every time Scooter goes to the restroom, because I know the listeners, like everybody finds that funny. His whole family, that's all they talk about, how accurate his trips to soda in the restroom are. But it's also, it's just part of Scooter's mindset. So it really helps you get into his mind, I believe, because so he looks at the pricing. He goes down there. Now, he told me, Ray, you could talk about this. I made a big mistake. Also, Scooter drinks a lot of coffee, but they have in this room, in his room, they had a coffee machine, or with individual cups of coffee, and the people that were servicing his room were nice enough to make sure he had more than 2 cups of coffee ready, of packets to make coffee, 3 or 4 at least. Which some places I say, what's wrong? You only think we're going to drink 2 cups of coffee? Is it really going to cost you that much more to have the room be stocked with 3 or 4 cups of coffee? So Scooter went down to the food court of the hotel, which is a bit like a food court in a mall, but only one company runs it, But there at the food court, they sell plastic mugs. And this is where Scooter said he made his big error. Because one, he said, I just woke up from a nap. And 2, I was rushing. But so they sell these plastic mugs. And Scooter will tell you, they're not exactly, they don't go good when you're mixing coffee and soda. Not at the same time, but over time. Because the inside is just plastic. So the coffee flavor you can never really get rid of. But so Scooter went down there and he said he prices it out. We were staying there for more than a few days, I think. So he said, well, it's like $20. But that's for all the, you can get coffee, Coke, hot cocoa, soda water. Because they had a freestyle machine like Stan from the Scooter's stories. And that's good with his little one because you say, okay, you could get sparkling water. You could get stuff that has low sugar. You could also get root beer, which Scooter likes after 2 p.m. But then you could also get, your Mr. Pip, that's Scooter's drink with cherry, or your cola or whatever. Now, when Scooter said he made an error, his error was that they had a tumbler, which was new, which was stainless steel on the inside, and it was a Star Wars theme. But Scooter said he was in so much of a hurry to get a drink, he saw that, and then he didn't want to do the calculations of the cost, which I think was about $5 or $10 more. But even after the first day, Scooter said, Ray, that was a mistake because the stainless steel is easy to clean out the coffee. It's easy to clean out in the hotel sink and get rid of the coffee smell. Because then his daughter says, Pop, can I use your mug to get myself a drinky poo? Because unfortunately, she does have to be the daughter of Scooter, which has its perks a lot of the time. But he says, no, we'll share one mug because that means we're getting over. Because Scooter says, whatever, they charge $3.50 for a soda. If we only have one mug and then we take turns, then, so anyway, so he bought his mug. He started drinking his soda at 2:30 p.m. It was and then he did some work, and about 3:30 p.m., the rest of us started to get up. Maybe it was around 3:15. And we started to get ourselves together, get ourselves moving, and we took a bus to the Epcot Center. And we went over there. We had some fast passes. I don't see them on the list. Now, it was a rainy evening. It was drizzling. It wasn't pouring or anything, but, that wasn't pleasant. And it was the holiday season. I don't know when you're hearing this, so you might not be hearing in the holiday season, but, this will get you in the mood. Not a ton of holiday coverage. Now, the first thing we did, because it was around dinner, we hadn't had lunch, so it was kind of lunch dinner time. And oh boy, was this on the charts of things. This is high on your charts. And this has always been high on our charts. So you go to, so Epcot Center is going through changes when I'm recording this. It used to be called Future World and International Showcase. And then Future World was supposed to be like a World's Fair type thing, and they had different pavilions with different things like land and sea and space and communications and transportation. And they're changing that around. All things must change. You have to roll with it. But so that's just to help you if you've never been there before. Is we went through the front section of the park, which would be called, at the time, it was called Future World. And we skipped that park because, one, we had some fast passes for later. Two, was like the evening, so all the lines were very long. And there's not a lot to eat there. And now that'll probably change with the updating of everything. So we went through to the International Showcase. And if you go into the International Showcase and you go right, there's a place, there's like so they, in the different seasons, they have little stands, like almost like little houses, little huts that serve different festival foods. But then they also have permanent places. Now, this one, I forget what it was called, but it's a permanent place. I don't know what it's called, World Cot 5000 or something. And it's right by where Canada is, right before you get to Canada, and they serve poutine. And at different times of the year, they have different types of poutine. This time, they had a poutine with brisket, and it was, oh my goodness, it was so good. It had the cheese, it had the curds, it had some brisket. The cheese had a couple different cheese flavors. It was very, very good, especially for a drizzly. It wasn't cold now. That was a nice thing. It wasn't cold, but it was drizzling. So we had that. Then they had so they have like everything was themed to the holidays. So they had the little food booths, like I'm saying, and they also had a cookie stroll, they called it. And Scooter said, well, I can't do any adult beverage strolls anymore. Those days are behind me. So he wanted to do the cookie stroll because he also likes cookies. And I don't think this was here. Maybe it was. I guess it looks like it according to my notes. But he got a peppermint pinwheel cookie, which was one of the first cookies on the cookie stroll. Now, spoiler. Well, I guess so this was, so Scooter got a little a pamphlet. You get stickers for your cookie stroll. And if you complete the book Cookie Stroll, you would get a bonus cookie somewhere. And he probably could tell how it turned out by my tone, Scooter rolls with him because he was on vacation. So he got his peppermint pinwheel cookie. He said it was pretty good. But after the poutine, that was a pinnacle level of food. It was a little bit of, it was tough to follow up. Then we went to another place where they sell shirts and things, because they also had a treasure hunt where you were searching for a wreath with Chip and Dale on it in every country. And Chip and Dale in every country in this World Showcase were holding an ornament. And if you got all the ornaments, then you could turn it in for an ornament. Now, you were paying for the map and the cost of the ornament, but still, yeah, something fun for his daughter to do. And it turned out it was very difficult at first. We didn't get it right away. Then we went to Mexico. They had a food booth that had a nice tostada with some beans on there, and I believe something else, but it was mostly a bean and cheese tostada. It was good. It was a very good tostada. And then we headed to Norway, which they were supposed to have this holiday show that Scooter has not seen in like 11 years. And he said, Ray, so before I knew him, he said, Ray, you got to see this holiday show. It's so funny. And he said, you're going to love it. So it was like a Norway holiday storyteller talking about the Norwegian holiday traditions. But we went there, but because of the rain, they had canceled the show. And then we tried to find the Chippendale ornament, and we must have spent about 15 minutes looking for the ornament, and we could not find it. So then we went back to Mexico because they have a boat ride there. And we went on the boat ride, which is a fun little ride. Usually that line, much like Pirates of the Caribbean, moves pretty quickly, even when the line is long. And the inside of that pavilion has the inside-outside look. So we went in there, and we did that. Then we got off the boat, and Scooter was very happy because they had mariachis performing inside. And they had dances, and Scooter was in, this is Scooter's element. He loves the street performers or performances, what do they call it? Streetsmosphere, I think they call it for Disney. And also Scooter was pointing to me of how many people were having fun. People were dancing with the dancers. And then they did a Feliz Navidad, which is a hit. I mean, I realize it's like a, what do you call that? It's like some people say, well, that's not real culture. It's just a pop song. But people love singing along with it. And so that was fun. Then we had a fast pass for a ride. Now, this is going to go away, too, and they're going to change it. So I don't know if they'll still call it this. But it was Spaceship Earth, is like a story of communication with animatronics. Dame Judi Dench was voicing it, I believe. Like if it's Helen Mirren, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. But, and so that was very nice. And, it's a relaxing ride. Sometimes you could fall asleep, but they have the old-fashioned animatronics, which, they're coming back with some more of these. But to me, and I think Scooter and maybe even his daughter, and this is a delicate subject, but this is the kind of thing that's kind of like the excess of these parks in a kind of a good way, is like the idea that you'd make these robotic figures, to show the history of the news or supercomputers or papyrus or the Gutenberg press. Or all of these things, like that you invest in these figures that you're just kind of going by briefly, creates a little bit of a sense of wonder, because even though they don't look real, they look almost real. And they look more, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think it's like it's something that they say, well, that's boring, they're just talking about newspapers and stuff like that. And I could see both sides of things, but we really enjoy that ride. And I know by the time this comes out, maybe it'll be a little bit different. And of course we had a fast pass, so we didn't have to wait in line for that. Then we went to Living with the Land, and it was nighttime. And this is a boat ride. And it talks about the history of, agriculture. It's an agriculture type ride. But then you go through all the greenhouses. But because it was nighttime and the holidays, they had a holiday overlay with all sorts of holiday lights and little hidden figures. It was really fun because you still had the ride part where they talk about, well, this is aquaponics, fishophonics, or this is what happens in the desert. But then they had the holiday stuff. So I really liked that. That was nice there. Then it was really raining. We went on a ride in a place called the Seas, and we went on a ride Seas with Nemo and Friends, which is a nice little ride. Maybe you've heard me talk about it. You go in a clam mobile or a shell, and you go looking for Nemo, and then the ride ends in an actual aquarium. So that was fun, and there's lots of good opportunities for pictures after the ride. But oh boy, was it, that's a nice one. Then we got off that ride. It was really raining, but it wasn't cold. So we said, well, we all have raincoats on, so it's not that big a deal for that. So we went back to the countries. Scooter's little one wanted to have a maple popcorn, like a little bit more like a kettle corn than a caramel corn. And also, this was another money-saving technique, depending. I mean, you say money-saving in context, because you can buy a reusable popcorn bucket, and I believe it's not inexpensive, but then you can get that bucket refilled throughout the parks there for about $2. And I realized that, a thing of popcorn in the real world costs about 25 cents. But, here you say $2 is a bargain to refill your popcorn. And even some of the flavored popcorn places you can get refilled. So we got the maple popcorn. Scooter did get a bottle of Coke. And then we started going to some of the other food booths. And we got a soup there. I think it was in Canada. Maybe it's someplace else with wild rice. Because Scooter's little one likes wild rice. And then we went to L'Chaim and Scooter got a pastrami on rye, an egg soda, and a black and white cookie. He said the pastrami on rye was actually really good. The egg soda was too costly for Scooter to enjoy for such a small drink. Because he said I should have just got a Yoo-hoo. And then he said the black and white cookie was okay, but it had a little, like some of the sugar cookies there at the Epcot, they have, instead of, some of them have a citrus, like within the base, and some have a vanilla in the base. And Scooter said, he just naturally prefers, the vanilla base sugar cookies versus a citrus based sugar cookie, or citrus hint, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying, I guess. Then we went on, we went and got some soba noodles and a boba tea or a boba drink. Now, Ray's not, I'm new to boba, even though it's been a thing for a while. So I only looked at it. I haven't tried. Scooter said, you'll like a milk tea. And his little one likes the boba. Kids love boba. And that was in Japan. Scooter's handwriting here. Oh, Scooter wanted to get some pizza, but they weren't selling pizza at night. They only sell it during the day, supposedly, for some ridiculous reason. Then we had a fast pass to ride a Frozen ride, which was like a boat ride where you get to see Anna and Elsa and Olaf. And unfortunately, we were right about to board the ride with a fast pass. Like, we were the next people to get on the boat, and the ride started to not function. So much so that they were letting everybody off the ride, like that was in the ride. Like even they didn't even get to complete the rides. Like all the boats had stopped moving. Now, we didn't even get on there. And they said, oh, we really don't have any idea when it's going to start again. So they said, well, you could just use your fast pass in another ride. So we went on the ride Test Track. And Scooter considers this a very thrilling ride. Your friend Ray, I do enjoy this ride as well. So it's like it's a ride where you're pretending to test a car. It's a test track for a car because it's like the history of automotive. There's no history in there. It's all just for fun. It's now in Disney Land in California Adventure. They have the Cars attraction. Radiator Springs races. It's similar. This is just themed much differently. And it's fun though. At the end, it goes and it feels very thrilling, but it's not too thrilling for most people. It doesn't go upside down or anything like that. And then, this was around about 9 p.m. And then we said, you know what? We've had a full day. We were up all night, more or less, flying. Let's go back to the hotel. And so we walked to our bus around 9:15 p.m. And by 10 p.m., we were all in our rooms, which was very, very, very nice. Now, those of you that are hardcore theme park people are really going to enjoy this next segment. And those of you that aren't, don't worry about this because it'll probably be in a new evolution at this point. But in the evening, we usually like to plan out what we're going to do the next day. So as I was just talking about last evening, we were kind of saying, well, what are we going to do tomorrow? Because your friend Ray, likes to be at the parks before they open. Then you could get a lot done. But also at this particular time, this was when recently in Disney Studios, they had opened Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Which is the Black Spire Outpost. It's the mythology behind it. And that had just recently opened its second attraction. It opened in the summer with one ride called Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. But then a few weeks before we got there, not only had the new Star Wars movie come out, but this ride had opened called Rise of the Resistance. And it's a very ambitious attraction. I don't think you could call it a ride. I would call it an experience and attraction. And because of that, Disney had made some changes to how they normally operate things because it was so, there was so much anticipation and so much demand for the ride. And you'll probably, if you're a theme park enthusiast, you'll know they had a lot of tests they did at Disneyland and Disney World trying to figure out how to manage the crowds for these things. And this was also the busiest time of the year. Now, we happened to get there on a day. So this was the second day of our trip. We're heading into the morning of the second day of our trip. And this was before the holidays officially. This was actually, I'll tell you, it's December 23rd. And the park was officially opening at 7 a.m. Now, the day after that, it was starting to open at 6 in the morning. I don't even know if Ray believes that. A theme park opening at 6 in the morning. But it goes even deeper than that. So the park would officially open at 7 a.m., right? Okay. Now, I'll explain to you a lot. But so now we were in a bit of a pickle because 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning, that's 3 or 4 in the morning for us Californians. But also we were staying at a hotel where you took a bus to the park, and the buses don't start running till 45 minutes before the park opens. So the first bus we could get was at 6:15. Now, we could have taken a lift or whatever, but then we were like, that's a little bit over the top. We're supposed to be on vacation. And I'll explain more. But so at 6:15, we were already up. We got up at 5:45 a.m. And at 6:15, we were at the bus stop, and the bus came at 6:15. The bus was busy, and then we got to Disney Studios, and it was very, very busy. And it was also drizzling once again. Now, it wasn't cold, even though it was early in the morning, which is always important, if you're going to get wet. And we had our raincoats and one umbrella. And we did split up. So we split up because Scooter took the backpack and because they go through your backpack. So we went and got in line. And the line was already pretty long just to get into the park there. And the thing was, they start letting people into the park around between 6 and 6:30. And I think this particular day, they started letting people into the park around 6:30 because the line wasn't moving at first, I don't believe. But we were in line. Well, let's see. I don't have a time written down. We were at the bus at 6:15. Which meant Scooter was probably through getting his bag checked by 6:40 maybe. I'm just guessing. Maybe 6:30, 6:35. And then we were in a very long line to go through the gates to get into the park. Now, the key is you want to be in the park before 7 a.m. when the official park opens. Now, this is much different than Ray's normal strategy, even though it sounds similar, because at 7 a.m., what happened at this time was they open up something on the app they have, and you would open the app and you would get what was called a boarding pass to be able to go on the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance ride. There was no line for the Rise of the Resistance that you could get in. You could only get on the ride if you had a boarding pass, and the boarding passes would run out within like 20 or 30 minutes or less. And so basically how it works is, so we got in the park at 6:50 a.m., 6:50. Park was going to open with the rides and the boarding passes at 7. And so then they start walking people back towards the rides, or they were already doing that. So we're walking towards Star Wars Galaxy's Edge there. And actually about 6:55, we were like, we're not going to get to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Let's just step to the side of the road here, and we'll get our apps ready. And also it was raining, and we could get under an awning. And other people were doing the same thing. And then at 7 o'clock, you open your app, and just like if you're trying to get something else to load, you're refreshing it until it says get a boarding pass. And you kind of have to include the members of your party. It's not that simple, but it's not that complicated. Now, the key thing is that the kind of giving them out is some randomness, but also the giving out, the sooner you get it, the sooner you can go on the ride. So we were opening, closing it. We got our boarding pass by like 7:04, 7:03 a.m., and I think it was a boarding pass at 38 or something. Maybe I have it written down later in here, which meant that, or maybe it was 68, which meant we weren't going to be able to ride for a few hours. I think 38, because I think they could do about 10 groups an hour. And a boarding group doesn't just mean your group. It means like a group of 100 or so people or something. But so at 7:05, we had our boarding group. So that's one win for the day. And then we went and we got in the ride. So let's see, got boarding pass to ride the Rise of Resistance. And then we went and got in line for the Millennium Falcon. Now, according to the sign, it was a 30-minute wait, but it ended up being a bit more, like closer to an hour till we got off the ride. So, it was the beginning of the park. Everybody's going to that place anyway. And throughout the rest of the trip, that line would end up being like much longer, like 90, 120, 180 minutes. And that ride is like a little bit like you're in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. There's 6 people. Each person has a little bit of a job. So it's a little bit like a video game and a motion simulator. But it's pretty cool because you're looking right out of the Millennium. It looks very real. So it was a very entertaining ride. And that was nice. Then we had, at 8:10, that was when we got off the ride. Scooter used the restroom because he had already had, some coffee. Then we had churros for breakfast. Scooter also had a Coke for breakfast. But he said, Ray, I need to, I got to get my spirits up, Then we headed to Sunset Boulevard, where there's 2 rides down there. And we waited 30 minutes in line for the Tower of Joy, which is still based on the TV show Twilight Zone. But in Disney's California Adventure, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And either version is very delightful. So Ray likes that I can go on both, when I have time. So we went on that ride. Then there was a long line, but we still did it. We got in line for Rock and Roller Coaster about 8:45 a.m. But it looks like after Tower Terror, we went on Rock and Roller Coaster. We got in line there about 8:45 in the single rider line, which is usually a little bit faster. But the park was already busy at this point. Now that's where things have probably changed by now, and I think they'll have opened up one more new ride at that park because when the park has like those popular rides and it opens early, Ray's usual rope drop strategy doesn't work because so many people get to the park so early that kind of all the rides instantly have a long wait. So you got to be willing to take a little bit of a Six Flags type attitude and be like, okay, well, I'm going to have to wait in some lines here. And you could reduce that by using Len Testa's Lines app, a good friend of, we like Len. But so anyway, I guess probably the ride was not functioning properly, and that's why the line was also so long. Because they did make a bunch of announcements. Your wait's going to be longer than normal. But we got in line for that at 8:45. And by the time we were halfway in line, our boarding group for Rise of the Resistance had started, I believe. It may have started even earlier. Like the latest we could have got to Rise of the Resistance was 10:30 a.m. Like they give you a window. I think it's like a 2-hour window or something, but our window was going to close at 10:30. And so we thought when we got in line at 8:45, we would have been fine, which we were, but we did cut it close. By the time we got off of Rock and Roller Coaster, it was about 10 in the morning. So I guess we probably waited in line about an hour there. And, we were playing, what do we call it? A Ticket to Ride on Scooter's phone. So we were having a grand old time. Scooter had bought another map, a European map. So it actually isn't really that bad. But so 10:15, so 10 o'clock, we headed over to Rise of the Resistance. And I'm not going to tell you anything about this ride at all because it would ruin it for you. But so at 10:15, we got in line. It was even though you have the boarding pass, it doesn't mean you get on the ride immediately, which, you come to accept. And so we waited about 30 or 40 minutes to get on the ride. But I could tell you it was worth the rigmarole because it was like one of the pinnacles. It was an experience. It was amazing. Will I say it's the greatest thing ever or it's worth waiting in line hours and hours and hours? Maybe. I don't know. You'll have to decide that for yourself. And if you heard about the ride, it won't ruin it for you. But if you don't know anything other than it's called Star Wars Rise of the Resistance and you ride it, you'll be so surprised. It is so surprising. We knew nothing. Scooter said he had seen 1 or 2 videos, but it was just, oh boy, what a ride. It was a great ride. So it was worth it. It was not worth it. Now, it was not such a great ride that we were ever willing again to get up at 4 in the morning. Since the park was opening at 6, you'd have to get there at 5:15, we were never willing to wake up again at 4:30 in the morning. So while it was the best ride we've ridden in a very long time, it was not, it did not make any of us say, well, let's get up at 4:30 in the morning, to try to ride it one more time. Then we went over to a restaurant called the ABC Commissary, more of a fast food place. And we were pretty happy with that because they have, what do you call it there? They had mobile orders, so Scooter could put an order in. But they also, because it was so busy, they would only let you sit down if you had a tray of food, which did cause quite a bit of controversy with a lot of people, including Scooter. He said, I want a table. And they said, well, when you have your tray, you could have a table. And he said, okay. Other people were a bit more, vocal about it, but it was nice because then when we had a tray of food, we had a clean place to sit down right away. And that did take 2 staffers to keep an eye on that, but I think we had burgers or just salads or something. Scooter thinks he might have had chicken nuggets, and, we ate a lunch. It was a pleasant little lunch there. And we were kind of running out of gas, so we went to, they have these street performers that are supposed to be from, old Hollywood, the Hollywood Studios Streetmosphere performers. So we watched a little bit of one of their shows. It was like a kind of a game dating show, like Match Game or something. And there was someone from the crowd there, and then the actors and actresses. And it was very funny. It was it was enjoyable. And then, holy moly. So then we went now Disney also opened this amazing thing, totally getting undersold because you don't have to pay to be in the parks, but they have this thing called the Skyline, which is basically like gondolas that connect parks with one another. And this has been, I have to say from a lot of times they say, well, you're not doing anything futuristic or whatever. This is one of the improvements of the parks that I've never seen that I said, wow, what a big improvement. What a pleasant thing. I hope you do more of it. Even if you just do this, it's wonderful. And I'll tell you about it, but it's basically, okay, I guess I'll just tell you. So you leave the Hollywood studios and we said, well, we're not ready for our nap yet. So let's ride the gondola. Actually, I think it was a little one that said that. So we said, okay, why not? So we went there and the gondola goes from the Disney studios to the Caribbean beach resorts. And that station happens to be a transfer station. So you get in a gondola car, just like you'd see up in the mountains. There's 2 nice benches in there, and there's a beautiful view. And it moves in a way, it's a detached one. So it's going fast when it's up in the air, but then when it's down, it's going slow. And I realize those things aren't for everybody because some people say, well, I don't like being, up, I know what you're saying. But it's very, very pleasant and relaxing, and you get a view you just never had before. So we took it there. Then we transferred and took it to Epcot. They have one that goes from the Caribbean Beach Resort to Epcot. And it goes into the back entrance of Epcot. But we got off there. And then we walked over to another hotel called the Beach Club there because they had a gingerbread carousel with hidden Mickeys and also soda machines. So we went and we looked at this gingerbread carousel. We tried to find the hidden Mickeys on there. And Scooter got himself another soda because he had his unlimited soda cup that works at all the hotels. Then we got back on the Skyline. It took it to another hotel called the Riviera, which was new. And so we said, well, let's check this hotel out. You go to the lobbies, you look at how they had it decorated for the holidays. and, just walk around. It just gives you something a little bit less intense and pleasant to do. And Scooter and I, we love to walk. So we looked at the pool there. We looked at the lobby. Then we called a Lyft, a Lyft thing, a car to come pick us up there. And we took that back to our hotel, just a short little jaunty away. But we decided to do that so we could get some rest instead of taking the Skyliner back to Hollywood Studios and then taking the bus. And then according to my notes, Scooter took about an hour nap, and his daughter took a 15-minute nap, and I took a 2-hour nap. And, that was it for, and then I guess I'll tell you more about it later, the second half of our day. Because, then we went to the Magic Kingdom after. But we took a nap, and that was, so that was a little bit of time with Scooter and your friend Ray at the parks. Thanks, everybody. I want to thank everybody who became a patron recently. Corey, Marion, and Claire, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Bob, Lucy, and Robert, thank you. Thanks, good night. Elizabeth, Lindsay, and Kim, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Christy, Cameron, and Alexis, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jeremy and Brianna, thank you. Thanks, and good night. E, Lee, and Lisa, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sarah and Leslie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Kyla, Candy, and Callie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Mike, Catherine, and Dreva, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sean, Risa, and Stephanie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Alexandra, Rishmu, and Bruno, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Harold, Emily, and Simon, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Mark, Jose, and Kevin, thank you. Thanks, and good night. RPN, Robert, and Sydney, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Emily, Carlos, and Jean, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Ramona, Tennelly, and Carrie, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Marta, Kyle, and Lauren, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jennifer, Lisa, and Liza, thank you. Thanks, good night. Corey, C, Laura, and Lee, thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sleep With Me exists as a free podcast because the people that support the show on Patreon are supported our sponsors, so I appreciate that. And what else? We grow as a show by people just simply spreading the word. Believe it or not, just about podcasts in general. If you show someone in your life how to use their podcast app, or just say, hey, dude, what do you buy? Oh, did you know it's free and on your phone? Here's some of the podcasts I listen to, but what are you into? Let me show you on your phone how to listen and how easy it is, and really help them get started with what they're into. It'll be a huge help for Sleep With Me. You could also join our referral program at sleepwithmepodcast.com/refer. But that's about it. And what do you say? Would you want me to do anything with your blanket? You want me to grab you a cup of water bottle with a cap or a top? Okay. All right, good night. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, BetterHelp. If you're having trouble meeting your goals right now, difficulty relationships, trouble sleeping, or if you're feeling stressed or depressed, BetterHelp is available. BetterHelp offers online professional counselors who can listen and help. And I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, is that I've had a lot of struggles throughout my lifetime with mental health and with self-medication and stuff. And working with professional licensed therapists has given me the tools to function and flourish in my life. And that's one of the things I'm so grateful for, is the relationship I have with my therapist, someone I can talk to who can listen and help me. And with BetterHelp, you simply fill out a questionnaire to assess your needs, and BetterHelp will match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. And this isn't self-help or a crisis crisis line. This is secure online professional counseling. BetterHelp counselors have a broad range of expertise which may not be available in your area. Their service is available for clients worldwide. You can log into your account anytime and send unlimited messages to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, and everything you share is confidential. You don't have to worry about going to the office or sitting in a waiting room. And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so it's easy and free to change counselors if needed, so you can find someone you're comfortable talking to and working with. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. And this podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Sleep With Me listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sleepwithme. So visit BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/sleepwithme, and you can join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced BetterHelp professional. Thanks, everybody. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots here. Before you drift off, don't forget some really easy ways to support the show is our referral program. You know, we're always running cool stuff. You get a free personalized video. SleepWithMePodcast.com/refer, REFER. You get rewarded just for sharing the podcast with people in your life. We got our custom sleep phones at SleepWithMePodcast.com/sleep phones. And you can always check everything else out or get a hold of me through our website, SleepWithMePodcast.com. Check out our sponsors, check out other stuff. Thanks so much. You want me to, how do you feel about this window? You want me to adjust the window, or you want me to close that shade just a little bit? Yeah, there you go. All right. Good work there. Good night.